Hello, dear students. Let us continue with the grammar portion. Let us finish up this chapter today with the leftover topic, whatever has been there. So, if you see page number 11, the next topic that is distributive determiner, right? Under distributive determiner, we have either, neither, each, and every. Now, either has two meanings, okay? The first meaning of either is that any of the two different persons or things. For example, on either side is a narrow lane, which means on any of the two sides. Or say, either book can serve my purpose equally well, which means any of the two books. So that is the first meaning of either. Either also stands for both. For example, tall multi-story buildings have come up on either side of the road, which means on both the sides. Correct? The next distributive word is neither. Now, neither is the opposite of either. It means not the one or the other. Okay? For example, we have two TVs, but neither works properly. Or say another example, you should take neither side, which means that not the one or the other. Okay? The next distributive is each and every. Words such as each and every. And we use each when we think of things separately, one by one. For example, each book was given a chocolate. Not each book, sorry. Each boy was given a chocolate. Talk to each child. We use every when we think of things as a group. Okay? The meaning is without exceptions. For example, every dog has its day, or every man in our country knows his duties. We also use each for a small number, preferably two, or the number in the group should be, at least be limited. It must be definite. And whereas we use the word every when the number is large or indefinite. For example, each side of the square has the same length. And when I give you the example of every Indian must be proud of the country. Alright, so these were some of the distributive words, distributive determiners. Now let us see the quantifiers. Quantifiers are those which tells us about the quantity. Okay, in layman's term, it tells us about the number or quantity. There are the quantifier words such as some, any, much, many, several, etc. Now there are some sentences. I'll just go through the sentence. Just listen to it properly. Many jobs need to be done immediately. Okay. Someone keeps calling me on my cell phone. So see the word many, some, right? Are there any stamps in the drawer? So are there any stamps? It's talking about quantity, number. I had to face a lot of trouble in reaching your house. A lot of trouble, a lot, right? He has not left with much choice. Much here again talks about the quantity. So likewise, this type of words are generally used, and especially quantifiers like many and several, they suggest number, and they are used with countable nouns. All right. Now, if you look into your page number 12, there are various examples for the words such as many, several, much, little, some is being mentioned in your textbook along with the example. Please go through that. But one important point which you have to remember is that the expression many or many a, which means the same as many. Okay, many and many a, it's a similar meaning, it's the same meaning. It is always followed by a singular countable noun and takes a singular verb. Let me give an example for this. Many a job needs to be done immediately. Alright, now see, the comparative and the superlative forms of much and many are more and most. Okay, now there are also some other quantifiers such as little, a little, the little, few, a few, the few, and so on. So this type of words, this little, a little, the little, they denote quantity and are used before uncountables. I repeat, words such as little, a little, and the little, they denote quantity and are used before uncountables. Okay, not countables, uncountables. All right. Now, the next type of determiners is interrogatives. Interrogatives such as what, which, whose, etc. Now, these determiners, they help to ask questions. Okay, and that's why this type of determiners are known as interrogatives. They generally, the words such as what, which, whose, how much, and how many are interrogatives, and they can be used before any kind of noun. Okay, so if we sum up this entire chapter in short, which means, determiners are the words used before nouns to determine or modify them, right? And we have seen the various kinds of determiners, that is articles, under which we have seen a and the. Then we have demonstratives such as these, that, these, those. Possessives such as my, your, his, etc. Distributives, that is either, neither, each, every. Quantifiers such as words like some, any, much, many, several, etc. Interrogatives, words such as what, which, whose, etc. Fine. So with this we come to the end of this chapter, and I hope you're already done with your exercise. Please listen properly that the exercises has to be done in your notebook. Okay, and so now let us go to the next chapter, the present tense. Okay, I won't go in detail. Today we will just cover up the first topic. It's not that I'll be giving you the entire chapter at one go. So let us basically, tenses. What do you mean by tenses? Now see, the verbs in a sentence, they can take many forms. Okay, and we use these different forms of the verb to indicate the different tenses. Such as to talk about the present, or to talk about the past or the future. Basically, in simple term, if I explain you, tenses tells us about the time, and each tense has got 4 forms. Okay, and which we generally know as simple or continuous or perfect continuous. All right. Now let us see what is this simple present tense. We will talk first of all about present tense. Under present tense we have 4 forms. Next comes past tense and then future tense. So under each tenses we have 4 different forms. So let us see the simple present tense. Simple present tense is also known as indefinite present tense. All right, or indefinite tense, you can say that. Now this simple present tense or indefinite tense, okay, this is the main root form of the verb. Okay, this is the main basic form. Now for the third person singular, such as he, she, it, or say any name, we have to add s or es. Now such type of words, when we have to form it in a negative form, then we have to use the word do not plus first form of the verb, or we also use the word does not. I repeat, we use the word do not or does not along with the first form of the verb for the third person plural and singular. When do we use it? We use it when we need to form or when we need to make the negative form of the verb. Okay. Next comes interrogative. Interrogative is formed with do or does. It can be formed with do or does as well, but along with do or does you need to add what? The subject, and then comes the first form of the verb. You see in page 16 there is a table very beautifully explained. On your left hand side it is mentioned about the how to form, how negative is being formed, and on the right hand side how interrogative is being formed. See on the left, first let us talk with the negative table first. In the negative one, or the simple present, you can say what is being mentioned. At first we need do not, and then comes the first form. Okay, or you can, in some of the sentences we also add does not plus first form, but whereas in interrogative we add do or does plus the subject and the first form of the verb. Now this simple present tense has got its various uses. Okay, there are certain norms which are rules which we have to keep in mind when it comes to the uses of simple present tense. So we will see with this uses in the next class, but please go through the text about the previous chapter as well as the present chapter, that is the present tense. Okay, and go through the uses also. If you see, it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 uses are mentioned for the simple present tense. And the next class we will discuss about this uses of simple present tense plus the present continuous tense. All right, God bless you, study well.